For any branch of science, at least the ones that I'm familiar with, whether it's astronomy, physics, neuroscience, you need an observatory, like for astronomy, you need a laboratory, like neuroscience and so forth. And so likewise, for very rigorous, long-term, professional, contemplative inquiry, just like going for a PhD in neuroscience, this takes years of training, full-time training, in a suitable environment, with professional guidance, and then you can really become a master of your discipline. This almost nowhere exists nowadays. With this open-minded inquiry of shamatha, which is kind of the contemplative technology of refining one's attention, mindfulness, introspection, so they're really rigorous modes of observation to explore the mind directly, not just by way of brain and behavior, but to combine such first-person inquiry, contemplative inquiry, with scientific inquiry. When people are going very deeply into meditation, what happens in the brain? How does it influence their cognitive abilities? How does it influence the degree of empathy, of kindness, of loving kindness? How does it influence the degree of happiness, of well-being? How does it influence the degree to which their minds are still prone to afflictions such as anger, jealousy, arrogance, and so forth? So what we're envisioning here is my best vision of what could catalyze a true first revolution in the mind sciences. In physics, there have been two. First with Galileo, and then with Einstein, Niels Bohr, Heisenberg, and so forth. Two revolutions. In biology, there's been one, Charles Darwin. In the mind sciences, scientists have been studying the mind for 140 years now. No revolution. The assumptions they had 140 years ago are largely still there. And that's because they're not looking at the mind. Galileo broke through the unquestioned beliefs prior to him by looking carefully at Jupiter, Sun, Moon, and so forth. Darwin broke through unquestioned assumptions by carefully observing species. Very careful observation, 20, 30 years of careful observation. If you want to have a comparable revolution in the mind sciences, you must learn how to carefully observe the mind, and not just brain or behavior. Contemplatives do this better than anyone else, and Buddhists have extremely sophisticated methods for doing so. So to draw on this to help catalyze a revolution in the mind sciences with scientists, because they have their own strengths of cognitive psychology, cognitive neuroscience, even clinical psychology. But there's also, Tuscany is not only the home of the scientific revolution of Galileo, who was born in Pisa, but of course it's also the home of the Renaissance. Just down the road in Florence, Leonardo da Vinci. So a renaissance of contemplative inquiry. Because Buddhism is not the only tradition that has a very, very rich heritage of extremely rigorous contemplative inquiry that's given rise to a tremendous number of discoveries. Actual discoveries that are replicated and intersubjectively corroborated. Christianity also has a treasure, but they're not paying attention to it. Hinduism, of course, maybe the oldest one, at least 4,000 years, a treasure, but very few people using it. Taoism has a treasure, very few people really going into it. Likewise, the Kabbalah within Judaism is very rich. And the Sufi tradition, Islam, very rich. But we think, oh, but that's religion. Oh, that's Islam, that's Judaism, that's Buddhism. And then we think religion. And many people, as soon as they think religion, they lose all interest. Oh, that's just belief. I'll tell you what's just belief. The mind is just a function of the brain. That's just a belief.